Let me start with a question that doesn't just make you think, it makes you remember. Have you ever experienced a moment so sharp, so sobering, that it felt like God Himself tapped you on the shoulder and whispered, "Pay attention. This is who she truly is." Not a dramatic fight, not chaos, not shouting, just one undeniable moment of truth where everything inside you went perfectly still. A moment where the illusion broke, the mask slipped, and you saw her actions for what they really were, a reflection of how deeply she respected you, or how deeply she didn't. Every man, no matter how stoic or composed, experiences that spiritual gut punch at least once in his life. That instant where something sacred inside you shifts. You don't feel anger. You feel awakening. You don't feel jealousy. You feel clarity. And you realize the most dangerous wound a woman can inflict isn't betrayal of the body or the heart. It's betrayal of respect. Because once she crosses that line, she's not just hurting you. She's telling you exactly who she thinks you are. And the painful part, she expects you to overlook it, to tolerate it, to forgive it. But a stoic man knows that the moment he forgives certain acts, he forfeits his dignity, his strength, and his future self. So before we break this down piece by piece, do me a solid. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to become a stoic soldier, because this truth isn't just for your ears, it's for your evolution. And comment this phrase right now so it sinks into your identity. My respect is non-negotiable. This is where the shift begins. A stoic man doesn't create boundaries to control a woman. He creates boundaries to protect his inner world, the place where his peace, his purpose, and his self-respect live. Boundaries aren't walls, they're standards, lines drawn from self-awareness, discipline, and a deep understanding of what a man becomes when he allows disrespect to drip into his life unchecked. Marcus Aurelius never said to argue with the world. He said to guard your mind, guard your soul, guard the fortress within. And that's what boundaries truly are, the outer expression of inner strength. Too many men think setting boundaries makes them controlling, insecure, or difficult. Nope, weak men think that. Stoic men understand that the moment you let someone routinely cross your lines without consequence, you're not being forgiving. You're being complicit in your own downfall. You're telling her, you can treat me however you choose, and I'll still stay. And nothing kills attraction, respect, or connection faster than that. Boundaries are the quiet, confident declaration that you value yourself enough to walk away from anything that threatens your dignity. No yelling, no emotional chaos, just calm, unwavering self-possession. A woman who respects you will never fear your boundaries. She'll appreciate them. And a woman who tests them isn't looking for freedom. She's looking for proof that you're strong enough to hold the line. This is the foundation of everything that comes next. So, let's get to the truth most men feel but never articulate. The one act you should never forgive a woman for is disrespect. Not disagreement, not conflict, not imperfection, but disrespect. Because disrespect is the moment she stops seeing you as a man she values and starts seeing you as a man she can walk over. And it never starts loud. It begins in the smallest ways, the subtle eye roll, the dismissive tone, the way she talks to you in public like you're beneath her, the way she stops considering your effort, your time, your presence. It's when she starts valuing attention from others more than loyalty to you. It's when she treats your kindness like weakness, your patience like passivity, your love like an option instead of a commitment. Disrespect is the silent signal that she no longer fears losing you. And once that feeling settles in her mind, everything changes. A stoic man understands that disrespect isn't an accident, It's an unveiling. It shows how she truly perceives your worth. And the reason you can never forgive it is simple. The moment you allow disrespect, you give her permission to repeat it, escalate it, normalize it. And when disrespect becomes a pattern, it doesn't just destroy the relationship, it destroys the man. A woman can make mistakes. A woman can stumble. A woman can be imperfect. Those things you forgive. But when she disrespects you deliberately, publicly, consistently, or with full awareness of the pain it causes, that's the line. That's the moment a stoic man steps back, not out of anger, but out of honor. Because once she stops respecting you, there is nothing left to save. Disrespect doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's a psychological shift, a subtle erosion of how she sees you as a man. Women are intuitive, emotionally intelligent, and highly attuned to power dynamics, often more than men realize. When a woman begins to disrespect you, it's rarely because of some random mood or bad day. It's because, consciously or subconsciously, she has reassessed your value, your leadership, your presence, or your strength. And here's the part most men never understand. Women test men not because they want to hurt them, but because they want to confirm their strength. A woman will push, prod, or challenge you to see if you fold, if you abandon your boundaries, if you crack under pressure, or if you remain steady, calm, and rooted in your identity. When she disrespects you and you tolerate it, when you laugh it off, excuse it, or pretend it didn't bother you, she doesn't see grace. She sees weakness. She sees a man who can be molded, controlled, or overshadowed. And once that switch flips in her mind, she can't flip it back. Disrespect grows when unchecked. It escalates when rewarded with silence. It becomes her new baseline when you accept it even once. That's why Stoics don't respond with anger or emotional retaliation. They respond with boundaries, with distance, with clarity. Because the psychology of disrespect is simple. She stops respecting you the moment she realizes you don't respect yourself enough to demand it. And once she loses respect, everything else, attraction, loyalty, effort, begins to fade like a dying flame. This is where the downfall begins, unless you recognize it early and act with strength. To a stoic man, respect isn't a luxury. It's the oxygen he breathes. It's the foundation of every connection, every interaction, every relationship he allows into his life. Marcus Aurelius didn't command armies, govern an empire, and withstand chaos because he wanted admiration. Did it because he lived by an internal standard that refused to bend. Epictetus taught that a man's worth is measured not by what he possesses, but by what he refuses to tolerate. Seneca wrote that true power is the ability to remain unmoved by the actions of others while firmly rooted in your own principles. Respect to a stoic man is sacred because it reflects alignment between how he sees himself and how he allows others to treat him. When a woman respects you, you feel it. It shows in her tone, her softness, her loyalty, her willingness to follow your lead. Not because she's forced to, but because she trusts your strength. She recognizes your discipline, your decisiveness, your emotional control. She sees the way you carry yourself, the calm voice, the steady presence, the man who doesn't fold under pressure, and she responds with admiration, devotion, and feminine warmth. But the moment that respect dissolves, something fundamental breaks. A stoic doesn't react with chaos or accusations. He responds with withdrawal, because his self-respect isn't for sale, and it isn't up for negotiation. To him, respect is the language of love, the currency of partnership, and the essence of masculine dignity. Without it, nothing real can survive. And that's why once a woman crosses that line, the relationship changes forever. When a woman crosses that line of disrespect, the shift doesn't happen with fireworks or chaos. It happens in silence, in the quiet corners of the relationship where most men never think to look. Suddenly, her tone changes, her patience evaporates. The warmth you once felt in her presence grows cold, almost indifferent. She stops valuing your time. She stops seeking your guidance. She starts speaking to you with that subtle edge in her voice, a tone that says she no longer fears losing you because she believes you won't walk away, no matter what she does. You'll notice it in the way she compares you to others, the way she dismisses your efforts, the way she breaks eye contact, not out of shyness, but out of hidden contempt. And here's the painful truth. The moment she stops respecting you, she also stops loving you in the way a man needs to be loved. Attraction begins to fade. Admiration disappears. The small acts of kindness you once took for granted slowly vanish. She becomes colder, more distant, more critical. Not because she's confused, but because she's emotionally repositioning herself. She's detaching. She's pulling back. She's creating space for a version of you she no longer values. That's why the silent shift is so dangerous. It's not loud enough to wake most men up, but it's powerful enough to end the relationship long before the breakup ever happens. The stoic man hears the silence. He reads the tone. He recognizes the shift for what it is, the beginning of the end, unless he steps into his strength. And that recognition, that awareness, is what separates the man who stays stuck from the man who rises. A stoic man doesn't meet disrespect with rage, arguments, or emotional theatrics. He meets it with stillness, the kind of calm that unsettles anyone who expected you to break. Instead of shouting, he observes. Instead of pleading, he steps back. Instead of trying to convince her to treat him better, he lets her behavior reveal who she is, and he allows his silence to reveal who he is. Because the stoic response to disrespect isn't to fight for validation. It's to withdraw your presence, your attention, your energy, and your emotional investment, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. A man who truly knows his worth doesn't argue for it. He simply removes himself from any environment that fails to recognize it. This is where most men fail. They try to fix the disrespect, negotiate with it, or win back her admiration. Nope. A stoic man knows that once a woman has crossed certain lines, she already made an internal decision about you. She already recalibrated your value in her mind, and no amount of talking, explaining, or trying to make her understand will reverse that. So what does he do? He becomes still. He becomes distant. He becomes focused on himself again. His silence becomes his armor. His absence becomes his message. And his refusal to engage becomes his declaration of dignity. A woman may not respect your words, but she will always understand your silence. And when you stop entertaining disrespect, you stop allowing her to remain in the illusion that her behavior has no consequences. That is the stoic response. Not chaos, clarity. Not anger, alignment. Not control, self-respect. Here's the truth most men learn too late. The moment you forgive a woman for deeply disrespecting you, you don't heal the relationship. You erase yourself inside it. Because disrespect isn't like a bad mood or a misunderstanding. It's a shift in how she sees you. And once she sees you as a man she can walk over, talk down to, or emotionally minimize, that image stays burned into her mind. Forgiving that kind of wound doesn't rebuild trust. It signals weakness. It tells her, you can hurt me like this and I'll still come back. And from that moment on, the dynamic between you changes in ways you can't ever fully undo. She tests you more. She challenges you harder. She stops giving you her best because she knows you'll accept her worst. The man who forgives deep disrespect unknowingly becomes the man she loses respect for permanently. A stoic understands this. He understands that forgiving disrespect is not compassion. It's self-betrayal. It's choosing temporary comfort over long-term dignity. It's clinging to connection at the cost of your own identity. And here's the part many men hate to accept. Once a woman realizes you have no consequences, she has no reason to admire you. That's why you don't forgive disrespect. Not because you're bitter, not because you're vengeful, but because your self-worth is not a negotiable currency. Your dignity is not something you hand out as a discount. And the moment you tolerate disrespect, you tell the world exactly what you think of yourself. A stoic man holds the line, not to punish her, but to protect the man he refuses to lose himself. When a stoic man finally walks away, something powerful happens, something deeper than most men ever realize. At first, she might shrug. She might pretend she doesn't care. She might act like your absence means nothing. But as the days pass, as your silence remains unbroken, as your energy is no longer available for her to drain, something shifts inside her. She begins to feel the weight of what she lost. Not your presence, but your stability, your leadership, your masculine calm, your reliability, your guidance, your essence. Women can find attention anywhere, but they can't replace a man with self-respect. She starts remembering the little things, the way you listened, the way you carried yourself, the way you made decisions, the way you held the room without trying, the way your presence grounded her even when she didn't admit it. And that's when regret sets in. Not because you left, but because she finally sees the contrast between who you were and the men she now encounters. Men who want her attention more than they want self-mastery. Men who fold, who chase, who bend their standards. Suddenly, your silence isn't just distance. It's a mirror reflecting what she threw away. And this is where the real shift happens. When a woman realizes that a man she once took for granted now lives his life untouched by her, unaffected by her, unmoved by her, she feels a loss far greater than heartbreak. She feels the loss of respect for herself. Walking away doesn't just free you. It rewires her understanding of your value. And whether she admits it or not, your silence becomes the very thing that teaches her the lesson she never expected to learn. So, let me leave you with one final question, one that echoes long after this video ends. What kind of man do you become when you refuse to betray yourself ever again? Not the man who argues, not the man who begs, not the man who tries to convince someone to value what they were already given, but the man who chooses self-respect, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when walking away feels like tearing out a piece of your own chest. That man, the man who honors his dignity above everything, is the man life bends for. The man women admire, fear losing, and quietly respect. The man who becomes unshakable because his standards are carved into his character, not written in sand. Never forget this. A woman might forget your kindness, ignore your effort, and overlook your loyalty, but she will never forget the moment you held the line and walked away from her disrespect without looking back. That is the moment she understands your value, and that is the moment you reclaim your power. Thank you for watching, Stoic Soldiers. If this message hit you somewhere deep, if it reminded you of who you are or who you're becoming, make sure to hit like, comment below, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join the Stoic Army. I appreciate you. I respect you. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and never negotiate your self-respect.